I don't know how many times on this channel someone's argued with me and said, you know what, Binance, CZ, or some other entity, they're located overseas. It doesn't really matter what the US has to say about things. They don't really understand how the world works. What a racket this current system is. Look at this, Binance to make complete exit from the US. So everything we're talking about going forward is not about Binance US. That doesn't exist anymore. Good night. We're talking about the international business. Look what's going to happen to them. For the next 5 years, they are going to have an independent monitor that is going to comb through all of their transactions, reporting back to FinCEN and the OFAC, the U.S. Treasury Department's money laundering and sanction watchdogs. This is their international business. Understand this when we're talking about Binance, Coinbase, Kraken. This isn't blockchain. Yeah, someone's laundering money on Bitcoin's network. There's nothing you can do about it. It's permissionless. These exchanges aren't blockchain. They are businesses. They are tied into the financial system. And it doesn't matter if you hide out on the moon. They'll track you down. And this is part of, kind of what we are doing here with cryptocurrencies, right? Not having anyone, whether you're the U.S. government or otherwise, have totalitarian power over you. But you have to differentiate, blockchain businesses from blockchain itself. Because when we're looking at these different entities, and that could also be an entity that's building out a blockchain and its capabilities. See, that's not the code. That's an actual, person and group of people that can be hauled in. That's totally different, and we have to recognize that. This is a massive deal here. And we're going to have to see how they unwind everything. Now, currently right now, market's looking pretty strong. Prices holding in there, even going up a little bit, aren't they? And a lot of this we see going on, this big parade, is all about this. BlackRock meeting with the SEC to structure their Bitcoin ETF. It's making progress. They're getting close. Does it happen on this round or not? It's not really relevant. This is a long-term game. BlackRock will get their ETFs. Fidelity will get their ETFs. They're just running everyone out of town, and not just in the U.S., but globally. And they are going to usher in their services, their custodian services, their trading services. You're going to go through them, and what few exchanges survive. And again, you'll probably have a Coinbase and a Kraken and stuff like that. But it doesn't matter what they do. They can't capture blockchain because it's decentralized and no one has any control over that. So don't worry. A lot of people are going, oh no, here's BlackRock. They're going to change the game. No, you can't change that underlying, value there of blockchain. But when you look at the on and off ramps and the businesses that are built on top, you best believe those are going to capture 100%. It's going to be wild here. Former New York Stock Exchange president says money will flood into Bitcoin upon spot ETF approval. And I don't really care about that, the very next day, boom, that big rush of cash. I'm looking more long term. It's not about you or I. We use blockchain for a different reason than a hedge fund or an endowment fund. But a lot of people, this is going to be a more appropriate vehicle for them to invest, and it's going to bring more people to the table. So I would look at it as an additional, source of money flowing into blockchain. It may not be the way we use it. We'll still deal directly. But again, this is going to be big, but I would have a more long-term outlook here. I'm not saying the next day you're going to see money flood in and, Bitcoin runs up to $1 million. I don't think it's going to be that kind of thing. Yeah, Bitcoin will jump up. It's great news. However much it is, it is. We've seen crypto run wild before, but it's really about that long-term effect. That's what I would look at when we start seeing these ETFs roll out. It's the integration of blockchain technology into traditional finance. This is a long-term game. We are winning, and eventually they are forced to bend the knee. Now, we see this going around again. There's this SEC closed-door meeting, and they're going to be talking about settlements and different things. And so everyone's saying, whoa, it must be the Ripple case. They must be getting ready to settle it out. It's possible. It very well could be Ripple, but then again, it could be any other case they're working on. I wouldn't read too much into that. It's hard to say what the SEC's thinking. Many times I tried to read the tea leaves and go, well, they don't settle this out. It can be very bad for them. If they lose, and then they lost, it was very bad for them. How they didn't see that coming, I don't know. But, you can't get too logical here with what Gary Gensler's doing. It's hard to really say. Might they try to eject themselves from this case in totality? Yeah, absolutely. It'd make a lot of sense. But since it makes a lot of sense, they might not do it. Who knows with these closed door meetings? It could be about anything. It could be about Ripple just as well as anything else. So we'll have to see how that plays out. I do expect them, though, to start cleaning this up. Ripple, Coinbase, Kraken, start doing some settlements here. Again, if they have any sense to them, that's what they'll do. They'll take the wins, like you saw with the DOJ, where it's like, hey, we can take $4 billion from Binance. We can get in there and monitor their books, and we get a more compliant crypto system because of that. Or maybe we get nothing because he's going to hide out in Dubai and we can't do anything anyway. Like, you eventually got to have some common sense and understand you can only push so much. Let's go ahead. Let's hit with a hard fine that both sides can deal with, and let's usher in some new regulations and requirements that make cryptocurrencies more safe. That's how the SEC should be thinking here. If they will or not, who knows? Lastly, Winklevoss twins. Man, this is getting nasty. Gemini has sued over $689 million that came out of the Genesis system. So this was Gemini's money. They had it on there in their earn program. It was actually customer money. And when things started turning bad, they pulled as much as they could, $689 million. And now Genesis is going bankrupt. Well, what does that mean? What happens in bankruptcies? Clawbacks. You got it. You know how that works. They're trying to claw back those funds. This could be one we've been watching, and it could be really bad. It could cause a lot of duress. Keep an eye on this. If Gemini goes totally under, Genesis is already out of business, this is one of those things we'll have to deal with. I don't think it's as big a deal as the Binance situation we just saw settle out, but it's pretty big, and it involves Grayscale and everything under their umbrella here with this company. We saw them just sell off CoinDesk to raise up a little bit of cash. Anyway, something to keep an eye on. Will the Winklevoss twins get their money clawed back, which is really customers' funds clawed back? Be careful. We're going through a period here where you could have some disruptions out there. Try to self-custody your assets if you can. If you have to keep money with exchanges, keep it on the most solid exchanges. Even though things are looking up, maybe we get an ETF, maybe we go into another bull run. There's still some dark stuff, out there in the psychosphere you got to keep your eye on. And I wouldn't keep my money on Gemini or Binance or any of these, even Kraken, anyone with major trouble where you're just unsure what's going to happen. And it's just a good idea if you can avoid it in totality anyway. Let me know what you think down below. And as always, please like, please subscribe. The revolution will be televised right here on Jungle Link.